Good morning, good evening, and good night. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Gold D Ranks, first mate of the Gold Fang crew. And we're back with the Sly report for One Piece, chapter 1117. Now this chapter is what I like to call a reaction chapter, cause it's a lot of reacting going on to what's being said in the story, and the action in the story is gonna elicit a reaction from you, the reader. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So we start this chapter off getting reactions from different places around the world to this mind-blowing lore that Vegapunk has just dropped on people. So, as we are opening up, we are establishing ourselves on the pirate island of Hachinosu, where we got random fodder pirates talking about, oh man, we gotta get down there. There's treasure under the ocean. Others are like, man, you don't think every city was made of gold, do you? Like, how do we even know how much treasure is down there? People are like, how we gonna get down there? Should we go get our ships coated? This is expensive. We could try and woo a mermaid. Like, all types of stuff going on, all types of different conversations. But that is not the exciting thing on Pirate Island. While we are on Pirate Island, if you look closely, if you look with the intention of finding what you know is there, you will see the Krieg Pirate Top 3. You see Pearl. You see Don Krieg himself has a nice flowing mane of hair now. And you see the boy Gin. Now this is exciting. It doesn't even have anything to do with the news that Vegapunk has dropped. It doesn't have anything to do with Sun God Nika, Joy Boy, the crew of the Straw Hats. Honestly, we don't even know for sure if he's on Blackbeard's crew. But we see the Krieg pirates. We know the promise that was made to Sanji by Gin years ago. And people who thought this man was dead. A large part of the community thought this man would never be seen again. But for those of you who held out hope, those of you who knew Gin was alive, he made a promise to Sanji, and he's gonna see him again. Take your flowers, because you were correct. I just think it's hilarious. This is Gin, Don Krieg, Pearl. They're all on Hachinosu just chilling, hanging out. Crazy. But we cannot get distracted. We cannot stay here. We must continue. So once we leave the Pirate Island, we cut over to a random sea in the Grand Line, a random section of sea in the Grand Line where we see Mont Blanc Cricket and the Sariyama Alliance talking over the things that they have just heard. They're excited. They're like, wow, this is a great tale. There's all this treasure under there. This is from even before the time of my ancestor Nolan. Like, what do we gotta do? Like, are you guys ready to try and set out on another diving expedition? Like, this is such a romantic tale. I'm inspired. Let's go. Man, it's so good to see old characters from like pre-time skip, or even just characters that haven't been in the story in a while, and go see what they're doing around the world, because it lets you know the world is moving while things are happening over here. But also, it's just good to see certain people, you know what I'm saying? Cricket, that's a homie. That's a homie to Luffy, you know what I'm saying? So it's always good to see him. But we can't stay here because the chapter doesn't stay here too long. But we do have to acknowledge these two important figures. Gin, Mont Blanc, Cricket, Don Krieg and Pearl are cool, whatever. But, like, it's just exciting to see. It's exciting to see, it's exciting to read, and it lets you know that the world is still moving, the world still turns. You know what I'm saying? Alright, but we must continue. We didn't cut over to GS, Navy General Hospital, and we see Kobe, Helmeppo, Hibari, Kujaku, Bruce, all of them are just chilling. Hibari's like, oh wow, do you think this has something to do with the One Piece, in reaction to what Vegapunk had said, and she's talking to Kobe, but she also says, you know, it kind of makes you think about how all this is kind of strange or coincidental or whatever. Kobe, he's in his own little mindset. He's like, yo, all of this stuff is going on. I'll write down my report on what happened, all that other stuff later, but like, now this is happening. All of this stuff, it just has my mind running. There's like a whole bunch of thoughts going every which way in my head right now. Then we got Kujaku. She's coming in. She's like, oh yeah, you know, I just saw the captain, referring to Drake, and you know, he's in there recovering on his own. His injuries are healing pretty good, but he wants to be left alone right now. So these guys, the new crop of Marines, they are still having their own conversation. And Kobe, he asked Bruce, he's talking to Bruce, he's like, hey man, it's just about to get real wicked, ain't it? In a manner of speaking. And Prince Bruce is like, honestly, yeah. You know, we might have to hear some real hard truths, some stuff we're not even really ready to hear, but we gotta hear it if things continue in this manner. And Kujaku's response to this is just like, hey, it's our turn to step up. It's our turn now. So just like the next generation of pirates is out here doing their thing, the next generation of Marines is ready to step up and take the reins, you know what I'm saying? Really go in and show what true justice is about. Because also, these are members of SWORD. They're not just Marines. These are SWORD members that are in the Marines, you know what I'm saying? So that's happening. We then briefly cut over to Drake. He's just chilling in his own room, but he's quietly contemplating, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure he's heard this message. He knows what's been going on with the message and all this other stuff. And on top of that, he has the information that he knows from Wano, from helping out Luffy, and then all of this faith that he heard from Kobe, that Luffy is a great guy and all this other stuff. So he has a lot on his mind as well. So the Marines, they're Marines, you know what I'm saying? And they're just chilling and doing their thing. Ain't nothing really crazy going on with them. But from there, from the hospital, we cut over to see Big Bad Smoker riding his hog, you know what I'm saying? Riding this fucking smoke billower bike. And he's dragging something. We can't really tell what it is he's dragging something on the back of that bike. But he's having a conversation with Tashigi. Tashigi's basically, Smoker's basically asking Tashigi where she is. And she tells him she's at the hospital as well. So we don't see Tashigi in this chapter, but we know she is also at the hospital where Kobe and all those other guys are at. So, Smoker, man. It's been a minute since we've seen Smoker too. I wonder what he's up to, what he's dragging behind him on his bike. But we will get to that when we get to that. We don't get to it this chapter, but we'll get that information eventually. I'm not too much worried about it right now. What I do want to know is if whatever he's dragging behind him is related to what he's been doing since the last time we've seen him. Because Smoker's been absent for a little minute. Like, we've seen Tashigi, we've seen Helmeppo and them, but we have not seen Smoker since, I believe, Dressrosa? Maybe it was a time or two after that, but I'm pretty sure we haven't seen Smoker since, not even Dressrosa, but Punk Hazard, I guess, is what you would call it. But that's neither here nor there. Whatever Smoker was up to, I'm pretty sure it was important, and I'm pretty sure we'll find out what it is when it's time to find out. But we cannot stay with Smoker. We got to continue, and we got to keep going, because there's a lot of things that have yet to been talked about this chapter, and I'm going to give it to you. Ever so briefly, we do cut back to Vegapunk. Some message being displayed to like random citizens, and one instance like, hey man, tell us what's going on with this Roger situation. Keep talking. What's going on? But it's a message recording. Can't really hear it. But Vegapunk does say at this junction that he apologizes for being vague. He knows he is being very vague with all this information, but he can't really venture into the territory of speculation. You know what I'm saying? He's just giving you the facts. He has his own thoughts on things, but he's giving people the facts of what he knows and not venturing into speculation to try and sway opinions. So we understand that. But after we get that, we cut over to the Egghead Labostratum, where the barrier is being lifted. Nami is noticing the barrier is being lifted, and she is telling the Straw Hats and Lilith and them, all right, hey, let's get ready to get out of here. Usopp is noticing how, like, all right, the clouds are all the way stretched out. Like, we'll have no trouble reaching the sea this way. But Lilith, while he's saying that, she's like, yeah, but what about that fleet down there that we just gonna land on top of? In order to answer this question, we cut over to Brook. Brook's reporting to Nami, hey, all the cola barrels are loaded. We can blast away at any given minute. You know what I'm saying? It's ready to go. Nami's like, cool, good. Jinbei is still not here, though. To which we then cut over to Jinbei and Zoro. And Jinbei is like, yeah, we're on the way. We kind of got busy chasing this freaky giant monster. And to which Nami is confused. She's like, wait, what are you chasing a giant monster for? Now's not time for to get sidetracked. Now's not time for side quests. What are you hunting monsters for? This isn't monster hunting. So Jinbei's like, yeah, but we're not really sidetracked. We're not distracted. The monster thing, whatever this is actually heading right for the ship. So y'all better be ready. You know what I'm saying? The presence on this thing, indescribable. It's like immense. So we see that V Nasujuro is headed toward the Sunny in his half horse form, and he running down on him. He gets close, he begins to draw the sword, he's getting ready to attack. Lilith, everybody on the ship, they're shocked, they're in shock, and especially the crew, they're even more in shock because Lilith's like, that's an elder, and they're just like, what? So as Nasujuro begins to cause the slice, we see Jinbei coming out of nowhere, clutch as fuck. He's like, hey, Zoro, I'm finna throw you. He's like, Fishman Jiu-Jitsu, does a move, throws Zoro. Zoro gets it, two-sword style, Nitoryu, Rashomon. And him and V Nasujuro are clashing. We got Hockey Lightning, we got Hockey Flames. We got both of them looking at each other, noticing they both using Kitetsu blades. They're just like, a Kitetsu? And then we get the blast away. They both get knocked back from the shock waves of the power of the hockey of their clash. Jinbei catches Zoro, right? Nami's like, Zoro! Zoro's like, get out of here. Me and Jinbei will catch up. Bruh, I just need y'all to understand, Zoro is number 2 for a reason. That's all I'm gonna say. He number 2 for a reason. He did this 2-sword style, by the way. Not even 3-sword style. And he pulled out the Rashomon. That's the shit he used to cut the sea train. Like, come on, man. Come on. Shout out to Jinbei too. Jinbei was ready. Jinbei knew what time it was. He was like, hey, yo, let's get over there. Then caught the boy when he was thrown back. Like, come on, man. Come on. Shout out to Jinbei and Zoro doing what they got to do to protect the Sunny and the crew. Now, I have seen and I've heard people talking about how V Nasujuro having the confirmed Kitetsu blade, there are theories that he might be the original Kitetsu. or he might have had beef with the original Kitetsu. So there are a whole bunch of theories and a whole bunch of ways you can go with that as well. It's not just a fight, it's lore in a fight. Crazy. But that is neither here nor there. We cannot continue with that train of thought because there is more to get to in this chapter. So let us continue. We now cut over to the northeast coast where the rest of the gang is waiting with the giants, and these Marines, they're putting up a fight now. They done got their legs underneath them. They like, all right, the initial shock of the giant warrior pirate showing up is worn off. We got Vice Admiral Hound at the helm. He's like, hey man, get y'all shit together. We can't let these old timers come in here and sway this battlefield. Let's go. So these Marines, they hype. We got Marine on giant action. We got Marines coming out the water, coming out the ships, giants coming out the water, grabbing ships, throwing people. A lot is happening. While we're on the east coast, northeast coast, we cut over to Sanji. He's with Atlas. He's like trying to get in contact with Luffy, but the communications is down. So he just ends up yelling, Luffy! All of a sudden, you hear from behind a wall of flames, Luffy's loud voice just like, hey, are we here? Let's get ready to sail. You know what I'm saying? Then, from that same distance, we cut over, we see Omo and Kashi, and they hear Dory and Bragi say to them, hey, get the ship ready. We about to set out. So everybody got their orders. Everybody knows what's about to happen. We getting ready to get up out of here. But before they could do that, we got giants and navies fighting. And then Admiral Bluegrass rocks up on her riding the mechanized sea beast, and she's like, hey man, y'all doing this sloppy. We can't let these people get away. We can't let them undermine the power of this navy right here, as she uses the mecha beast to blow a hole in the hull of the giant pirate ship. Now Kashi sees this. He's looking down. He's like, wow, she really blew a hole in the ship, huh? Then we see Vice Admiral Dahl just in the air all of a sudden, fist covered in hockey. And she's like, yeah, and I'm going to put a couple in you with my rock and roll blaster. And she is just laying into this man. Like, she gives him at least a good 5 to 7 hits, bro, that I can count on that screen. Maybe more. But she rocks this man. She rocks this giant as just a Vice Admiral lady using hockey. She rocks this man. Man is down for the count. Niggas, Kashi! That is happening. And while that is happening, there's a lot going on. We cutting overall. There's battles happening all over the place. As you can see, the message is about to end. But we're still continuing. We're still continuing. There's more that has to be said. There's more that has to be done. I just like the fact that we was focusing on Bluegrass and Dahl earlier when they went off on their own to head over toward the northeast coast. And I like that we're seeing more of these people in the Marines and more of what they can do, because I mean the Grand Fleet got to fight somebody. So there's that. But we must continue. After this, we then briefly cut over to where, Dory, Bragi, and Luffy are. Sorry, I had to jog my memory real quick. I don't know why that happened. But yeah, we cut over to where Luffy, Dory, and Bragi are. And Luffy is looking back. He's kind of confused. He's like, huh? Where's the pig? Worker, he's gone. He's no longer chasing them. And Luffy's kind of curious. He's like, huh? I don't see him. But Dory and Bragi, they're not too concerned about this. They're like, hey, we got to get out of here anyway. This should just make it easier. Like, didn't you just say we're ready to set sail? So Luffy, he kind of agrees, but in the end, he's still like, yeah, but where did he go? So that's all we get from them. But then as he's saying that, we cut over to the Iron Giant, who is now surrounded by every Gorosei member except Nasujiro. And they're just looking at it, they're like, wait a minute, this thing looks familiar. Mad familiar. And as they're jogging, running through their memories, they come to the realization that this is the giant that attacked the Holy Land 200 years ago. So if all of them have this collective memory of this giant, at least the 4 of them that are present, we don't know if Nasujiro is gonna agree or whatever, but there's nothing to assume that he won't. But this sets up that these guys have been around for at the very least, 200 years. So, take from that what you will. But while they're having this conversation, Vegapunk, he's continuing on with his message, and he's like, I have one last part of this message I'm trying to get off. And he says, this part of the message, this part specifically is for those members of the clan of D. And he said, amongst you, there is and as he is about to finish his sentence, Workery has had enough. He's like, nah, this is enough of this. He attacks the Iron Giant, knocks it up in the air. It doesn't really take too much damage. It's more like it just gets knocked back. But doing that has stopped the broadcast for now. And I say for now because I have a feeling that maybe Vegapunk might have foresaw something happening and just in case had a backup so his message would be finished. But in case it is the end of the message proper, we got a lot of lore out of that. That was a great message from Vegapunk. It wasn't too specific to where it would ruin things for the story, but it also set up a lot of things that could happen in the story based off people in the story knowing more of the truth now. So, there's that. But they attack the giant, broadcast stops, and the final panel of this chapter is York falling to her knees, and she's like, oh my goodness, thank God it stopped. The Iron Giant lands. It's still pretty much in one piece, but it's been knocked back. The transmission has stopped. All of our people are getting ready to escape. We got all the elders in one place with this giant, except for Nasujiro, who is currently being held off by Zoro and Jinbei. The ship's getting ready to go down to the sea and make its escape. We got all of our players, all of our crew, all of our allies over on the northeast coast where we're ready to escape once we get past this blockade. So, I think it's safe to say Egghead is going to be wrapping up pretty soon, but there is still not anything to say that something else big can't happen. You know what I'm saying? We still got how Zoro and Jinbei are going to catch up with the ship. What are the others going to do now? Is the Iron Giant down for good? Is this the true end of the message? There's a lot of questions, a lot of things that could come out of this. So we will be prepared. We will be watching. We will be waiting for the next chapter of One Piece so we can come and give you these answers. So we can come and tell you and report to you on what is happening in the One Piece world as it happens. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Gold G Ring, first mate of the Gold Fang crew. This has been the Sly Report on One Piece Chapter 11-17, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And just so you know, we will be continuing with the formatting of the chapters the way we've been doing it. Noted on the last video, just with chapters like these where everything pretty much lines up in order in the shape of events, that is no need for you to break it down to where, okay, this is what this is saying, this is what this is saying. You pretty much can get it A, B, C, D, E, F, G with this kind of chapters. So, once again, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.